Hi, everyone. I decided to switch things up a little bit today. And instead of me lecturing to you, you are going to take the time on your own to listen to me explain the slides and answer a few questions on the Ed puzzle. Hopefully, it'll help with the long lectures that I've been giving, and this gives you a chance to do it at your own pace. So, as of right now, we have finished reviewing the three images from class, and you should have a basic understanding of what the Haitian Revolution at least was about, or what was involved in the Haitian Revolution. I'm now going to give you a few more details about how the Haitian Revolution came to be. And I know I'm biased, but I think this is a particularly cool revolution because of just how well the people of Haiti were able to overcome the odds. But I don't want to give too much away, so no spoilers. So the Haitian Revolution is from 1791 to 1804. I think what's easiest is that if I need you to write anything down, I will let you know. Otherwise, you can just listen. So, okay. Our first essential question is how and why do revolutions occur? So take a moment and write that at the top of your page. How and why do revolutions occur? At any point, you can always pause the video if you get tired of my voice, if you need a break, or if you need a moment to write things down. This way, hopefully, I won't go so fast. So, our objective for today is I'll be able to identify the long term causes of the Haitian Revolution. Or another way to look at it is I'll be able to identify the social, political, and economic causes of the Haitian Revolution. So, what is the significance of the Haitian Revolution? Well, I think it would be helpful to write down. There are five things start here. Maybe write down three of them that are most interesting to you. I don't care which three. In 10 years, the people of Haiti ended slavery and established themselves as an independent country from the French. They were the only successful enslaved person revolt in history, the only one. They were the first country in Latin America to gain their independence. And the irony is that they were inspired by the very people who were colonizing and controlling them, the French, who had just undergone their own revolution, overthrowing their dictator or their leader. They were the first independent Black state in the Americas, and it helped spark a movement. It helped inspire against European imperialism and the American system of slavery, as in the people of the United States who lived in the United States, formerly enslaved people, were inspired by what was happening in Haiti. So Haiti, in case you are unfamiliar, is located right here in the Atlantic, kind of south of the Atlantic Ocean, the Caribbean Sea. It's just east of Cuba. Um, and the western side is Haiti, which was controlled by the French initially, and the other side was originally Hispaniola and is now the DR, or the Dominican Republic, which it was controlled by the Spanish, which is one of the reasons why they speak Spanish on one side of the island and a form of French on the other. Here's another picture just so you can see it in greater detail. And another one. I do love maps, I have to say. All right, brief background. You do not need to write this, just listen. In the year 1700, sugar was introduced, and sugar was one of the most lucrative products of the French colonies. But the thing with sugar is that it was an incredibly difficult product to harvest, to make, and the conditions were really brutal, including extremely hot days with the sugar, working in the fields with the sugar canes. They also produce things like indigo, which is like a blue dye, coffee, cotton, cocoa, tobacco. Um, but Europeans ended up getting addicted to coffee, which is one of the reasons why they ended up forcing some of the colonies to create coffee beans and coffee plantations. But the coffee plantations had much better working conditions than the sugar. And something else I found really interesting is that they had to clear out forests to make room for the plantations, and deforestation, as we're going to learn next week, is a huge issue to this day in Haiti. So take a moment, just let that all sink in, and we're going to keep going. Social causes. I am going to have you write this down because I want you to have a working definition of social cause. That's when people have strong, often discriminatory views on people's religion, social class, race, how society is structured, or it's really just people treating each other really badly. We can think of things that we learned last semester like discrimination, interpersonal oppression. That's a social cause. And again, we're thinking of reasons why the Haitian Revolution started. Next, economic cause. Economic causes have to do with changing who has access to money, land, jobs, or opportunities. You could think about it like when some people are used to having money and land, and then that's taken away from them, or when people want more access to jobs and money and land and they don't have it, or even worse, when people's basic needs aren't being met: food, water, shelter. So let's look at some social and economic causes of the Haitian Revolution. The first one is slavery, and I would jot this down. And again, you don't need to write everything here. And some of this might be pretty similar to what you've studied in the past about slavery here in the United States. As you can imagine, in using your schema, the living conditions were built on terrible property. So it was built so low into the ground that the wind didn't reach, and it became very hot. Working all hours a day, even women who were 7 to 8 months pregnant, or even small children. And as I said earlier, the sugar plantations were especially dangerous. But there was a reason why Haiti was the richest of the French colonies, as it produced so much sugar. Oops, sorry. So, as we saw from the pictures earlier, and you can see from this one to the right, the French were particularly cruel. They didn't care about the torture and the mistreatment of the people who lived there. They cared about making money. They withheld certain amounts of food. As you remember from the pictures, the people of Haiti were often killed and tortured in very terrible and public ways. So, this is something interesting and that we're going to come back to next week. But most enslaved people worked on plantations where they outnumbered their masters, the people in control, 10 to 1. Slave owners predictably used brutal violence to crush any power enslaved people might have. There were 500,000 enslaved people to 32,000 white people. So just take a moment to look at that number and think about, I wonder what could happen with those odds. One more piece of information before I have you stop and answer a question. There was something known as the Code Noir, or the Black Code. It was a set of laws passed by King Louis XIV all the way back in France. Enslaved people were personal property of their masters. Certain behaviors were banned: assemblies, marriage ceremonies, dances, things that, again, are very important to people in terms of building traditions and community and culture and love, and all things that really are bring people joy. And I might want you to think about why they banned assemblies and marriages and dances. So think about that. Runaway enslaved people were severely injured. And it required people who were in control of the slaves to really limit the amount of food and set maximum amount of hours. However, this was never enforced, and enslaved people were overworked and undernourished. We're going to learn about in the next slide that there were different groups of people, and there were people of color who were free. And they had the same rights, actually, as those born on native French soil. Even if they were freed slaves, they might have had more rights than enslaved people, but they still received and had to endure through a lot of racism. And they never quite could be the same as the white elite. But in many ways, they were able to prosper in ways that other groups of people were not. All right. So let's stop for a minute. And I want you to answer this question in the Ed puzzle. What was the social cause that led to the Haitian Revolution? Do you think they will be successful in getting rid of slavery? Why or why not? Think about the numbers. Think about the people. Think about what I said at the beginning of the slideshow. Go ahead. You can always go back if you need it. Political causes. That's the next one that we are doing. So political causes are specific groups of people feeling excluded from power, from government, or any of the decision makings. Or it's leaders making decisions without the thinking of their people. Think about the leaders in France making decisions about the people in Haiti and not including people of Haiti. It's like the people in Europe making decisions about the people in Africa without the input of the people from Africa. It's like monarchs and dictators making decisions without the input of their people. All right, so let's next one, number 2 that you can jot down, social and political tensions. So there was conflict throughout the different social classes because all these different groups had different desires and interests based on where they were on the social ladder. Um, Weird fact is that enslaved people born on the island were considered more elite than the people that were imported from other areas of the world. What was also weird is they were often given jobs that put them in positions of authority where they would have to supervise other enslaved people. And as you can imagine, that is a very complicated place to be. So let's take a look at this. And you're going to look at this in more detail a little bit later. But we could see at the bottom of the period are enslaved Black people. They were the majority of the population, and we talked a little bit about them. And then there was a group of people called Maroons. These were a large group of runaway slaves who lived in small, secluded villages. And we're going to learn a little bit more about them next week because they were the ones that raided and tried to burn down plantations. Then we had free people of color. These are Black people or people of mixed race who could own enslaved people. They were pretty wealthy and they wanted independence because they wanted to assert themselves in being a higher rank than the enslaved people. They also wanted to own enslaved people, which again is messed up on about 1,000 levels, but that was their position in society, especially because they knew that the closer they got to the top of the pyramid, the more money, power, and opportunities they would have. And then we had something known as the petite blancs, or the poor whites. They wanted equality among white people. They wanted independence from France, but they were also very anti-Black people in Haiti. So these were people that had come from France who were white, and they wanted to have the same power as the Grand Blancs, or the rich white plantation owners. So as you can see, everybody in this group, with the exception of the Grand Blancs, who just wants to hold on to their position in society, was all vying for and wanted different opportunities. So just taking a look at this a little bit further, and I am almost done. I only have a few slides left, so hopefully this was a little shorter than normal. So the Grand Blancs, or the big whites, were the plantation owners and elites. They wanted their colonial fortunes so they could get out of Haiti. Maybe they moved back to Europe. And they were nuts. I mean, they would spend so much money on European luxuries, and they did not like the Petit Blancs. They looked down on them, and they wanted autonomy. They wanted more money from France with different trade agreements, and they wanted to sell sugar to the highest bidder. The little whites, or the Petit Blancs, those are the poor farmers, formerly servants and shopkeepers. They were very resentful of the big whites. They were very eager to protect their position in society at the top of that hierarchy. If we go back just a slide, they want to stay where they were, if not move up. And they believed in their own racial superiority. Just in case you had forgotten, white supremacy is alive and real in this time period, in the 1700s and the 1800s, as it was in other parts of the world as well. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I'm recording. Okay, sorry about that. I had a friend come in the room. Okay, so yeah, so anyway, so the free Black people, or the people of color, they were the shopkeepers, they owned land, and they were continuing to gain power, just like I said, and they wanted more freedoms. And at this point, everybody looked down upon the enslaved people. All right, let's keep moving. People of color. I was most interested in this group because I think it was the most sort of unclear cut or most confusing of all the different groups. So people of color were educated, they were wealthy-ish, and they had this polished French culture. They often had a white plantation owner, father, and an enslaved mother. So they were mixed race. They were recognized by their fathers. They were often sent to study in France. They would return to own enslaved people. They could dress like the big whites, but they could not run for offices. And like I said, they wanted more money. And this was scary to the big and little whites. And so this, of course, is going to cause tension. And this is going to cause conflict in and around the groups. And then, of course, the enslaved people were very resentful of them and did not see them as friends, but rather just in the same way they saw the people that owned them. All right. So I want you to think about how could social and political tensions lead to a revolution? Do you think all these groups will get what they want? Why or why not? And when I say all these groups, I mean the enslaved people, the people of color, the little whites, and the big whites. Take a guess. It's only a prediction. Last one. The Haitian Revolution was inspired by the French Revolution. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to teach the French Revolution this year, but very briefly, the French Revolution was a 10-year war that ended up having a series of different leaders as they tried to overthrow the king. The people of color in Haiti demanded to be included in the France's version of the Declaration of Independence. So the Declaration of Rights of Man were all the natural rights. Remember that word? All the natural rights, all the inalienable rights that the French people wanted. Haiti was being controlled by France, okay? And they knew of that founding document, that Declaration of Rights of Man, and they said, hey, we need to be included in that. Of course, neither women nor people of color were included in that Declaration of Rights of Man, hence the name, but that's what they wanted. And people of Haiti heard about the ideas of natural rights and equality from the people who were controlling them. And they said, we want this too. This is exactly what we want. So the irony is that they wanted exactly what the French people wanted in France. And one of the reasons why that they did not want to include the free people of color in the Declaration of Rights of Man, even though they were free, is because the people of France believed it would be a slippery slope to ending slavery. All right. Here's the thing with the Haitian Revolution, though. It took the French Revolution one step further. Its goal, this is important, so I would like you to write this down, was to fight to end slavery, to overthrow the tyrannical leader, which was the French government, and then end the status quo. We want to make the changes. So I didn't do a great job of telling you what you needed to write down, but I think the most important things are one, getting this idea of the goals, understanding the social and political tensions, and understanding the how it was inspired by the French Revolution. Last Ed puzzle question. Which of these causes do you think was the most influential in starting a revolution? Predict how successful you think they will be at achieving some or all of their goals. Okay, I hope this was a new and different way to learn. And again, we'll go back next week to a little bit more of the standard, but in the future, I will do a better job of breaking up my lectures so they're a little bit shorter and easier to follow. All right, everybody, have a wonderful weekend. Please don't forget to turn in your final product by 9 p.m. on Friday. Thank you so much for all your hard work.